One Israeli was killed and scores injured over the weekend when over 80 rockets were fired by Palestinians in Gaza at southern Israel. On Sunday morning, rockets continued to fall in Beersheba and the western Negev. No injuries were reported. On Saturday night, Israel's top government and defense echelon convened to discuss Israel's response to the escalation in events, but said Israel is not interested in launching a large-scale ground operation in the Gaza Strip, but will continue to respond. The Iron Dome missile defense battery succeeded in intercepting a number of rockets fired at Beersheba, Ofakim, Ashkelon, Ashdod and other areas in the south, but were unable to shoot down all those fired by Palestinians. The rockets hit open areas as well as populated areas, exploding directly on houses and vehicles as well as streets. The Israel Air Force conducted over 25 sorties over Gaza, pounding suspected terror targets including senior commanders of the Islamic Jihad and Popular Resistance Committee. Palestinians said at least 15 were killed and scores injured in the airstrikes. According to assessments, the Air Force will increase its activities over Gaza, possibly hitting targets it has avoided until now, officials said. Military officials described the situation as complicated due to the pending statehood bid by Palestinians next month at the United Nations. All options must be examined before each operation, they said. Meanwhile, the army and police called on residents in the south to remain vigilant and close to shelters and security rooms, and seek immediate shelter in the event of alerts concerning pending rocket attacks. The crisis between Israel and Egypt appeared to have abated on Sunday following intense diplomatic efforts over the weekend by US and Israeli officials. Tensions between the two countries erupted, with Egypt threatening to recall its ambassador in Israel. The Egyptian government demanded Israel apologize for the killing of 3 Egyptian soldiers by Israeli army troops on Thursday, who pursued the terrorists that killed 8 Israelis on Highway 12 near the Egyptian border. Hundreds of Egyptians protested outside Israel's embassy in Cairo and Israeli missions in Alexandria and Giza on Friday and Saturday. The protesters also burned Israeli flags. Some Egyptian officials called to end the peace accord with Israel. On Saturday, Israel's defense minister Ehud Barak issued a statement saying he regrets the death of the Egyptian policeman. The peace agreement between Israel and Egypt is of great importance and strategic value to stability in the Middle East, Barak said. Both Israeli diplomatic and defense officials said a joint investigation would be conducted with Cairo into the deaths of the Egyptian soldiers. Over the weekend, Israeli officials spoke with Egyptian officials in an effort to defuse tensions. An Egyptian official said there are currently no plans to renegotiate terms of the peace deal with Israel, and said at present Cairo is working to contain the situation and restore order. The terrorists behind Thursday's coordinated series of attacks in which 8 Israelis were murdered planned to abduct Israeli soldiers and civilian security officials said. The attacks occurred on Highway 12, the route leading to Eilat in close proximity to the Egyptian border. Security officials who examined the bodies of some of the terrorists said they had in their possession explosives, assault rifles and automatic weapons and handcuffs, indicating they planned to abduct Israelis and take them back into Gaza. Officials estimate up to 20 terrorists participated in the operation and had planned the attack for months, and said it bared the hallmarks of Hezbollah and Iran. The terrorists are believed to have divided into 3 squads. One compiled information in preparation for the attack, another perpetrated the attacks, and a 3rd squad waited with vehicles to take the kidnapped Israelis back into Gaza, officials said. Since Thursday's attack, the Air Force has conducted over 25 airstrikes in Gaza in response to over 100 Grad missiles and Qassam rockets fired at Israel. Acting on information supplied by Israel's Shin Bet, the Air Force targeted senior members of the Popular Resistance Committee in Gaza who planned Thursday's attack. Those killed include Kamal Nirib, head of the committee's military wing, who was involved in numerous terror attacks against Israel. Imad Hamed, a resident of Rafah, who was responsible for the organization's military wing and was involved in the abduction of Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. He was also directly involved in the planning of Thursday's attack. Khalid Shat, another senior member of the organization, was directly involved in Thursday's terror attack as well as numerous rocket attacks against Israel. Khalid Matsri was involved in the abduction of Gilad Shalit and numerous attacks against Israel, the Shin Bet said. On Friday, another senior member of the organization, Samed Abed, was killed when the motorbike he drove was hit in an Air Force strike. The Arab League condemned Israel's strikes on the Gaza Strip and urged the United Nations to take action. We issued a statement condemning the Israeli offensive on Gaza and Egyptian land, Arab League Secretary General Nabil El-Arabi told reporters in Cairo. The United Nations has to take procedures to stop the Israeli offensive on Gaza, he said. Meanwhile, Jordan on Sunday urged an immediate halt to Israel's military escalation in the Gaza Strip, saying it threatens regional stability. Jordan rejects and condemns Israel's military escalation and operations in Gaza that have killed civilians as well as Egyptian officers. Information Minister Abdallah Abu Ruman said in a statement carried by the state-run Petra news agency. Jordan, which signed a peace treaty with Israel in 1994, said it rejects any acts that target civilians. The kingdom calls for an immediate halt to this dangerous military escalation in order to avoid repercussions that could threaten the security and the stability of the region, he said. A number of foreign artists scheduled to perform at Eilat's Red Sea Jazz Festival cancelled their appearances due to last week's terror attacks. Pianist Eddie Palmieri and Jason Moran and the tuba Skinny Band announced their decision to forego the festival over the weekend. The festival will also include the screening of Cinema Jazz, a film showing previous festival performances from the past 25 years. Avishai Cohen, the director of the festival, said despite the security issues, many other artists who were not initially on the program said they would participate. They include Roberto Rodriguez, who blends Cuban-inspired music with Jewish themes, to which he was exposed growing up among Holocaust survivors in Eastern Europe.